there are certain other apprehensions that we have come across. One of them being like, hey, if I am digitally connected to my customers, there is a good likelihood that I might be opening doors to a lot of information which I don't necessarily want to share. I might be sharing all my trade secrets, or I might end up sharing production schedule information which I don't intend to share. How do you view this skepticism? Is this being overly protective, or what's your view on this kind of objections?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is not warranted, I feel, because what you share electronically, you can limit what you share, and it
Mm-hmm.
need not be anything more than what you share non-electronically.
Mm-hmm.
So just
Mm-hmm.
because you share electronically does not mean you share more than what you want to share, right? And second is, in fact, I would argue that sharing this information on time, and which means more often, most probably you're sharing it electronically, is going to make your customer dig less deep into your workings, right? Because you are giving them all of this information on time, because you are digitally connected, you give all of this information on time, they're less likely to peel back the covers and look into your operations, because they are getting the information that they need on time. If you are not to do that, then they will try to say, in the guise of helping you, they might come to say, okay, what is it that you're doing? Where are you getting stuck? And eventually that means you're opening up more of your operations to them. So I would argue that being electronically connected will lower the chances that your customer is going to get deeper into your operations.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So, I mean, the key here is that we need to have a secure data exchange, and you need to have very clear, upfront, agreed upon rules that, hey, this is what I am willing to share, and this is what makes business sense for us to exchange. There is no need to share any more information than what is absolutely necessary for the business operations to continue. And if you have those well agreed upon rules and requirements, I think we should be the customers and CDMOs or CMOs should be good to go on that front.
Yes, and if you think about it, right, the customer, they engage the CMO because they do not want to get involved too much, right? So if you force them to get involved, that means the CMO is not doing a good enough job. So the customer's first or initial way of approaching is, okay, I'm offloading this manufacturing of these products to them. I don't want to dig deep and manage this. I'll let the CMOs manage, and so they'll be very happy if you can supply the product on time, not to dig deep into how you're doing it, as long as
Yeah.
you're following the process and the quality is good. They are very less likely to dig into your operations, because that is the whole point in hiring a contract manufacturer, is to not to be to get away from managing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. A lot of times when we have spoken to the CMOs, what they have been saying is that, hey, we are in middle of ERP upgrade, or we are having multiple ERP instances and we are consolidating them into one. And they say that this is not our priority right now. Come back to us after the ERP upgrade is done. I personally see a huge amount of risk in having this digital integration being uh, sidelined. What are your views on that?
We need to be sure that the master data is there, first step, and that normally happens as part of ERP.
Mm-hmm.
And it is, from what I have seen, especially we're talking of SAP, is that many times SAP is implemented more for financial aspects, in the sense that, okay, it's a more like a system of record than a system of execution. So processes happen, actions happen, and then somebody then records it into SAP. And what that does is, it doesn't make your internal processes very efficient. Maybe finance, because then everything flows up and you can finance department can easily get, okay, what is the process is done, how many units we have manufactured, how many have we sold. All of that information nicely flows to them, but it doesn't aid operations, right?
Mm-hmm.
So many times when they say, oh, we have to do the SAP implementation, or we are going to HANA and things like that, it is because the first time the implementation was not all that great, especially in terms of master data. Vast amounts of master data missing. In which case, right, you cannot use your system for integration with your customers or suppliers, because in fact you're not able to automate processes even within the organization. So it is very much, I'm like conflicted here. Like, should we go and become the SAP consultant, so, or become a consultant to the consultant to help them, set up the SAP system so that it becomes automated. Like it, the master data is so good that you can then build processes which can be automated. Otherwise, it becomes a system of record, not of execution. And then you now say, oh, okay, if you go to the next version of SAP, things will get better. But actually, the issues are more fundamental in the sense that they have not thought through what is it that they want to achieve with the MRP implementation. So definitely the first layer is the MRP implementation with with good master data. And master data is like very this very nebulous term. So what we need to make sure is that master data, we have to think about like those two things which I mentioned. Is it going to help the customer, the whatever I am putting into the master data, and how it is going to help? And the second thing is, think about complete lights out automation, right? Then you will collect all the right information in the master data, because right now, much of the master data, even with the SAP systems, are in, maybe in Excel spreadsheets or in sticky notes stuck to the cubicle walls. And all these things you would have seen. And if you see these things and people using it, that means their master data is not up to date. You cannot automate the processes, and therefore you cannot make the integration between customer and supplier, or customer or the sorry CMO and the customer, CMO and the supplier anymore. And it will be automated, or sorry, computerized, but you will not get the return on investment. So it is very much the right thing to do is to get your SAP system upgraded with good master data, and then the next step will be to do the integration. So for TraceLink, I mean, I think you need to look at, okay, how good the CMO's master data is, and then we can then say, okay, there's a good chance that they will be able to get the return on investment on integration.
Yeah. No, and I like that touch of differentiating between that. You don't want to have your ERP system as a system of records. You should be looking it to more as a system of execution.
It
Else,
should
it
drive
just
execution, exactly,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
Because otherwise you are depending on people to remember things and start the process, instead of a need kicking off different processes in the system. Systems are much more, they don't forget. They are repeatable, error free. You want the systems to initiate the process, and as much as possible be automated.
Yeah. No, and I mean, I have, and we have personally experienced what the magic happens when you have the right master data and you have the right integration setup with your supplier base. I mean, it to me it was a very successful project that we were able to implement at VWR. One of the things that I want to understand is, how do you define the success of your digital integration initiative? What are some of the basic methodologies that you can implement to measure if you are moving in the right direction or not?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, right? customer focus. So let's see, before you implement, what was your you know your service level to the customer, or
Mhm.
on time and full, and all these kinds of metrics, right? What was it before and what was it afterwards? uh, because, and then the other thing is your back order dollars. So what was it before, what is it now? So
Yep.
those are all, because the customer is only interested, am I getting the product on time, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
if you have a good service level, and your back order dollars are down, customer is happy. Now,
Yep.
within your own organization, what you want to, for example, in a manufacturing organization, you would want to check on, okay, what is your schedule adherence, right? So are you making the products on time? Because if there is not, then there's a huge lot of perturbation, lot of commotion within the
Mhm.
organization, which will drive down the efficiency. So the metrics, first thing I would see is customer facing metrics. How are they improving? And then your internal metrics of efficiency. How are they getting better? So if they are getting better, then you would assume that your customers are happy. You are spending less on making the same amount of output, and you should be in a good position.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, that almost reminds me of we when we implemented this whole digital integration at VWR, we had a very comprehensive supplier scorecard where we not only evaluated suppliers against each other, but we also evaluated progress of a particular supplier over the 12-month period, that where they were when we started this project versus where they are on a specific metric. So I think that ongoing measurement and identifying the right KPIs, I guess, is a very, very crucial factor to make sure that you are moving in the right direction at a right pace, and you are able to hone on the areas which still need improvement, where there might be flaws or gaps, and so on and so forth. So I think that
Yeah,
makes a
and in
complete
fact,
sense.
that is a very, I mean, it doesn't happen as often, is that the customer helping the supplier get up to speed so that it is mutually beneficial,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because if my supplier is, getting better and is able to get my products in on time, then, so my metrics to my customer will also improve, because now I'm able to manufacture the products on time and then be able to supply to my customer, and things get better. So I think that is a very good example of foresight to help the supplier come up to your level.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Which is an interesting point, right? The customer caring about their CMOs or CMOs caring about the customers. I mean, this topic is so close to my heart, and primarily because I've experienced both the good and the bad when we were not electronically integrated, and we then went to full electronic integration at VWR. And in my previous organization, we had limited to no electronic integration. So we experienced those dark days again. Just one last question is, what are the top three improvements that you think the CMOs can achieve from a KPI perspective, or three key improvement areas that you can think of if you have a perfect world where CMOs are digitally fully integrated with their customers? Maybe you can shed some light on that top three areas or KPIs that you think CMOs can benefit if they are electronically integrated with the customers.
Yes. So I mean, right, let's think from the customer's perspective. What would they want? And like I said, right, where is my stuff? That is the answer they want.
Yeah, yeah,
So they want to have the products on time, at the right price, at the right quality, right? So as long as we keep making improvements in that area, right, like OTIF, or service level, back order dollars. All of this are the metrics that we should measure. Now, electronic exchange of information will help in all of this, right? So, for example, if you were to do a PO manually, you send an Excel spreadsheet. So what happens is you need the buyer of on this side to be not be on vacation or things like that. And then the buyer on the customer service on the other side also accept this Excel spreadsheet and put that order into the system. They also need to be present and also not make mistakes while entering. It's very easy to add an extra zero somewhere and have a whole a big mistake, right? So that is where electronic integration is going to help. It will reduce your lead time because as soon as the need for a product is there, it is sent to your supplier. And as soon as the customer requires a product, you, the CMO, will get to know that ASAP, right? So these are the, electronic integrations make these kinds of things possible, reduce errors, and then give you time to react. So because of you're reducing the lead time, in the sense there is no dead time between you knowing versus my customer knowing, right? I know the customer needs the product, the system immediately shoots off a PO to the CMO, and the CMO can get to start working on it. Otherwise, there could be delays of 2 or 3 days, even though it appears as if it is not a big delay, but these add up.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you have hundreds and thousands of products, all these delays add up. It adds to the what I call the perturbance, and that kind of leads you to low efficiency. So electronic integration is just the basic thing, and it with the MRP done right, it'll give you huge amounts of benefit to both the CMO as well as the customer. So it's actually a win-win situation.
Thank you, Arun, for your time today. It was pleasure speaking with you on this Orchestrating Outcome series episode. And thank you all for joining us on this episode of Orchestrating Outcomes. Stay tuned for even more episodes as we try to bring industry leaders, both from CMOs and the brand owners, to share their valuable insights on supply chain digitalization. And I hope it can inspire you to accelerate your own digital journey as well.